Hi, I'm Felicia with Admiral Tim from Admiral Adventures, and we're here today to talk about your first cruise book.
I've been threatening to write this for a millennia, literally, and I finally did it. It's available on Amazon. I think you can get it at all major booksellers, but it's on Amazon in paperback, also an audiobook, and a Kindle book. Have you read it?
I have read it. It's very.
You love it?
It is. It's very comprehensive.
You're on the cover.
I am
you
on the
made
cover.
The cover. You like that?
Woo!
That's nice, right? It's in full color and very affordable. And let's talk about some of the stuff in the book.
All
You
right.
must have questions about cruising.
Well, I think that all of our first-time cruisers, or people who are even thinking about getting into cruising and are nervous about it, would like to understand some of the basics about it.
All right.
I think so, anyway.
Do you know what the number one question I get about cruising is?
What is it?
From friends, family, from our YouTube people.
What is it?
Why? What's the appeal of cruising? Why do people cruise?
All right.
Why do you cruise?
I love it.
Why?
I enjoy it. I love being in one place and unpacking one time and not having to worry about anything. I don't have to do dishes. I don't have to worry about meals. I don't have to worry about drinks. And I love being able to stop at different locations almost every single day.
It's like an all-inclusive floating hotel that goes to different places.
It really is. And it's magical.
Yeah, and price-wise, I still think it's the best deal. In terms of getting to different places, you don't have to pay for cabs, for transportation, you don't have to book more flights, you don't have to pay for baggage.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Your meals are included?
Your drinks, if you have
Drinks.
a drink package, which we do, unfortunately. You get to feel a little bit of sway here. And we'll talk about that. We'll cover that. We cover that in the book as well. We talk about seasickness and all the reasons that maybe you or people in your family or your friends who are resistant to book a cruise may not want to cruise. So we will dispel all those myths and tell you all about. So where do we start?
Well, let's just start with the basics about the ship. I mean,
Okay.
we hear things, people hear things, what is the port? What is the starboard? What's the bow? What's the stern? Give them the basics about what the ship's layout is. All right, so let's start off. What's the bow?
Bow. That's when you go like this. Thank you very much. I do that a lot,
Oh, he
especially
does.
after I dance. You've seen our other channel. The bow's going to be the front of the ship. They also call it the forward, as opposed to the aft, which is the rear of the ship. And there's a couple of different names, and these are different terms that you may hear if you're talking with a travel agent, a cruise travel agent, which we are. We have our information in the description below. Or if you're talking with a cruise person on the phone, say, do you want to be in the forward or the aft?
That's right.
The front or the rear of the ship. And there's reasons we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
What is the difference between port and starboard? What do those mean?
And the easiest way to remember this, it's back in the old days, the port side is the side that always pulled up to the port, and it's the left side of the ship. And the easiest way to remember that is port has 4 letters, as left has 4 letters. So it's the left side of the ship if you're looking forward. So the port side. It's important to mention that port is not always the port side anymore.
No, it's not.
We have ships that back in the ports,
Right.
especially in Nassau. You'll see some turn forward, some will turn backwards. So the other side of the ship, the right side of the ship, is called the starboard. And I guess that was looking out at the ocean when the ship was in port, so you can
Right.
see the stars. I guess that's why they call it that. But yeah, they still use these terms instead of just making it simple, saying the front, back, left, right. They have all these kitschy names, which you're probably seeing on your screen right now. Hopefully this will help explain it. And these are important because you may prefer to be on the right or left side of the ship.
Well, a lot of people do have that preference.
Yeah, we don't care.
We
It
don't
really
care.
doesn't matter because you don't know which side the ship's going to pull into port anyway. Sometimes it's nicer to look at the ocean, especially at some of these ports.
Honestly, one of the terms we haven't talked about yet is mid.
Yeah.
So midship, right? And for those who have concerns over the ship rocking a little too much and maybe a little sickness.
It's happening right
seasickness,
now.
It's not rocking too bad right now, but the mid is the middle of the ship, and there tends to be less movement in that location. So a lot of people like to choose their cabins.
It's physics. So
location.
imagine this is the ship. We're looking at it this way. And the ocean's going up and down over here. What's moving the least? The front's moving, the back's moving. Well, what's not moving? The middle is kind of I'm not going to say it's perfectly stationary, but it is. You're going to experience less motion if you are susceptible to motion sickness, again, which we will cover shortly.
Right. All right. On the cruise ship is made up of many decks.
Mhm.
Tell us about that.
Well, you can stay all the way up top. In some ships, the suites are up top, and some ships, they're not.
Yeah.
So, usually, you're going to find the swimming pool. You're going to find the buffet and some of the restaurants. You're going to find the sports deck and the walking trails on the upper part of the ship. It's really where you're exposed to more of the weather and the sunshine.
Okay.
And the top of the ship, again, we're talking about movement, is I guess you're going to experience a little bit more movement because up here it's moving a little bit more, even if you're in the middle of the ship. So there's the middle to the bottom, and if you really are worried, or if somebody in your party is worried about motion sickness, the best place to be is like in the midship and then in one of the middle decks.
Right.
The lower decks are where the crew stays, and you'll find the medical center. This ship, the Celebrity Beyond, has the kids area
On the
third floor. And I think
right.
that's great because I never have to see those little boogie pickers. It's wonderful. I don't even know they're here.
Yeah, the first, I think up to 5 or maybe even 6 are restaurants, shops, entertainment locations,
Yeah.
and then there's a block of rooms or block of decks that are just cabins, just
Yeah.
rooms.
Yeah.
And then the higher levels are where you're going to find your buffet, your pools, your
spa, all
your
that
gym,
fun
all that
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
That's the way it is on this particular ship,
Right.
too. So
And what ship are we on?
we are on, again, Celebrity Beyond, which is an Edge class ship, I think.
It is an Edge class.
It's
Yep.
the 3rd or 4th.
Second,
don't-
I think.
Second?
I think.
So it's got a few years on it. It actually has there's something that's not working in the engines here. And that started back in July, but they're sailing anywhere. They have modified their itinerary slightly, but I'm looking at the screen right now. It's telling me we're moving ahead at 18.4 knots, which is about what any other ship does.
I haven't noticed any issues at all.
They haven't changed our itinerary, but they did change the time we'd arrive at time. But I think we lost maybe an hour here. and
Yeah.
there. But no big deal. All our ports are we're still going there as planned, and all our excursions are working out.
Yep. Perfect.
So I haven't seen a difference whatsoever.
I haven't either.
Amazing how they can figure out how to run these things even when they're not functioning perfectly.
Yep.
I can't tell. The air conditioning's great.
Everything has been fine.
No power problems, no water problems, no
No.
drainage problems. It's
Nothing.
I would never know anything's wrong.
No, absolutely not.
So that's I mean these are really our floating cities. I mean there's no power cords or water lines connecting this to the land. I mean, we're out here in the middle of the Caribbean, you know.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
All right, tell me about the bridge.
The bridge is where the captain hangs out, the people who navigate the ship. That's all the way in the front of the ship. And not always up at the top, somewhere kind of in the middle so they can have a broad view of what's in front of them. You remember we interviewed a captain and he said, I asked him in fun, I said, how hard is it to drive a ship? He goes, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of sea trash, a lot of junk out there.
Mhm.
And what you don't want to do is run into something. There's a big hunk of metal out there, maybe a piece of an old boat or something. You don't want to run into that because that could rip your hull and cause
So
problems.
on the bridge, they have somebody called a quartermaster,
Mhm.
and it's his job to walk the whole length of the cruise ship
Mhm.
looking for obstacles or issues.
Yeah, for weird things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they have radar and sonar and all
Mhm.
kinds of other advanced systems that they didn't have back in the old days. So you're pretty darn safe.
Okay. All right, so that kind of covers the layout of the cruise ship. and
There's a
what things
lot
mean.
more in here, a lot more. There's several terms. I mean, we're talking about the ports, and a lot of other cruise terminology that will pop on the screen here. You can look at that, but all that information is here in this book. And again, the description and the links to this is in the comments and description of this video.
Absolutely. So let's move on to what everybody enjoys, food.
Yeah.
Tell me about the 4 main areas of food.
All right. Well, on this ship, it's a ridiculous amount of restaurants you'll find on any cruise ship. This has 4 main dining rooms. Where some ships have 1, maybe 2 gigantic dining rooms. This one has broken it down into 4
It's nice.
subsets. So there's 2, I think, on deck 3, 2 on deck 4, and they alternate the menus slightly. Not a big variation. I just went through them all.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of repetition on it. You can still get your steak and your chicken, but they will do regional specials. There's one that tends to be a little more Greek and Mediterranean. One that's a little more Italian, one that's American, and I'm not sure what the other one
I'm
is.
not sure either.
Yeah, it might be Frenchish. They like duck, especially in the duck is terrible, but if you like it, it's on you, man. Big on you. But you also have that's the main dining room. So they have 4 of those, and then they have 2 dining rooms for suite guests. So you can choose, if you're in the suite, you can choose to eat at the 2 suite restaurants, either of those, or you can eat in any of the 4 main dining rooms, or there's always the buffet.
Right. Now there are 4 main dining rooms on this particular ship and 2 suite dining rooms, but it varies based on the ship.
That's 6 dining rooms.
That is a
Figure
lot.
that out.
Yeah, and they're big.
Yeah.
They're pretty big.
And then you have the buffet area, which is a little bit of everything. They had an amazing Italian lunch today.
It was the most amazing Italian lunch on the buffet I think I've ever seen.
I always joke and say I'd love to see an Olive Garden on the ship. This was pretty. This is even better. They had a caprese bar.
Caprese bar.
I've never seen that
It
on
was
the ship.
wonderful.
Yeah, the colors, the display was amazing, and
Yeah.
the food was awesome.
Yeah,
as
they
well.
had a whole Italian theme for lunch in the buffet today, and it was outstanding.
It was packed in there today.
It
I haven't
was.
seen it really crowded.
People were waiting in line to get in there. Yeah.
And it was well worth it. It was really good. Meatballs were outstanding.
Outstanding.
And then you have specialty dining.
Right.
There's a whole bunch of other little restaurants which you have to pay. Now, your buffet is included in your cruise, and the main dining rooms are included in your cruise. In our case, we're in a suite, so we have 6 dining rooms, which are all complimentary. You just need to make reservations through your concierge or
Right.
guest services.
Right.
And but if you do specialty dining, the buffet's included. I said,
Right.
okay, so the
Yeah.
specialty dining you have to pay separate for. And these restaurants, I think, range anywhere from $40 to $125 a person,
Mhm.
depending on what they are.
Correct. Correct.
There's a couple of really foofy French restaurants. I can't even pronounce the one. The French,
Yeah, I don't. David something.
big on escargot. As a matter of fact, they're serving a salad in a squid shell. And then immediately, I'm like, I'm not eating that. It sounds gross. And fried duck, and just, have you ever had duck? I had duck last
Yeah,
night.
we had duck once.
I tried it
Long time
again.
ago.
It's greasy, chewy, gamey, and then they just fried it to hell. It was just dead and crunchy, and it was just,
But the ravioli underneath was good.
ravioli was good. The sauce was pretty good too. So there's that.
One of the nice benefits of eating in any one of the main dining rooms is you're sitting fairly close to your neighbors.
Yeah.
And you strike up conversations. You get to meet people that way, and it's kind of nice. You have your own table, so if you just want to have dinner with your partner or your family, that's fine. But there are others around you sitting close enough where you can actually strike up a conversation and get to know other people. So
And
that's
in
nice.
the main dining room and the 4 separate restaurants, they will a lot of times pair you with strangers.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you don't like strangers, you can ask for a table by yourself.
right.
Sometimes I'm just not in the mood to talk to people because, you meet people from all over the world. And
Sure.
some people are a little opinionated and they just want to. Some people are salespeople, especially on cruises. So sometimes I just want to sit by myself and just decompress a little bit. But if you
All right.
want to meet people, that's an option for you.
All right, so you've got your main dining rooms.
Mhm.
You've got your buffet. You've got your specialty dinings.
Mhm.
What if I just simply, I'm not interested in going out of my cabin?
Room service! You can call room service.
Right.
It's wonderful, and they have a very extended menu here. They have a suite room service menu and a regular room service
That's
menu.
great.
Both of them are pretty well apportioned. They have a lot of selections in here.
There is a charge for the non-suite room service.
$9.95, I
Something
think,
like
service
that,
charge.
yeah.
It's not
It's
terrible.
just
It's just
minor.
one charge, not
There's
per
one
person.
charge, that's right. But they deliver, ours was the other night, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They deliver it right to your door,
Big
bring it
tray.
in, set it up for you.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. So if you don't feel like going out, that's a great way to do it. Have breakfast brought right to your door in the morning.
We'll do
Whatever
that
time
once
you
in a while.
select, it's
Yeah.
it's nice. It's nice. You just want to
Yeah.
stay in.
I enjoy that sometimes.
Me too. Now,
Like my alone time.
those aren't those aren't the only options for food on the ship. There's ice cream.
Hmm.
There's burger places around the ship.
Yep.
Each
Couple
ship
grills,
has something
yeah.
different to offer, but there are other places to get food. There is on this ship. There's a bar that offers small bites, so there's a charge for that, but you can get that. There's a coffee shop where you can get little finger
sandwiches.
sandwiches or
That sounds really good
cookies
right
or
now,
treats.
What are we doing here?
So there are other options on the ship for.
You will never go hungry.
You will never go.
There's
hungry.
one exception. When I was on Disney, was it Dream?
I don't remember.
Magic Dream, I don't know what it was. That they had this blackout time from like 2 to 6 o'clock where nothing was open.
One of the ships did have that.
Joe, my friend and I, we were starved to death. We could not find anything to eat, and
Yeah, it was strange.
we ended up going to the store and buying a whole bunch of snacks. There was just nothing open. It was really weird, but
Yeah.
hopefully Disney has fixed that by now. But I haven't seen that problem on any other cruise ship.
No, there's ample
Yeah.
options for
All the
food.
time.
Oh, and pizza. Pizza's always almost always available on this ship. I think it's like, oh my
It's
gosh,
included, too.
11:30 in the morning till
1 a.m. or
who
something.
knows what time it ends. So there's plenty.
We
of
just
time.
learned they'll make custom pizzas. You write it down what you want. They will bake it and you hang around, come back, and
That's
pick it
great.
up.
That's
We're
great.
going to
We
try
need
that.
to try that.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But they usually have a cheese pizza, a pepperoni pizza. This was pretty good on Celebrity, and
It
also
was-
Royal Caribbean's
It
not
was
bad.
very good.
MSC
is
though,
outstanding.
probably the best
Yeah.
pizza.
But all the ships have pizza, and
Yeah.
it's always readily available. And almost, I can't think of a ship that doesn't have ice cream. So there's always something to munch on here.
Yeah, for adults and kids, and like adults who are kids.
Right. Let's talk about the different rooms or cabins or staterooms that you can book and stay in.
All right. Again, all that's covered in here with pictures, details, examples of everything, and actually some sample costs as well. But I'll start with the most basic room is your inside room, your interior. That means no windows. You're looking at four walls, and that's not a bad thing. But if you're on the ocean, you probably want to see the ocean, and you could leave your room if you're in an inside room. There's plenty of chairs and seats, and you've got freedom to walk around the ship 24/7.
That is true. And a lot of people opt for inside rooms. They feel they can't sleep with light coming in. They feel that the rooms are cooler.
They are cooler.
And so a lot of people opt for them. They are the least expensive room on the ship.
These windows will let in considerable heat. And we did an inside room on an older ship, and it was freezing.
Very nice.
It's like an ice box. Super dark, super quiet.
Yeah.
So that is an option, the least expensive one. And then you move up to your ocean view rooms, which means you have one or more windows. Usually it's a porthole or a small window so you can at least look outside.
It doesn't open.
See how the weather is, what the ocean looks like. So that is your ocean view. That's a step up from your inside room. And then you go to the balcony or veranda, or depending on what they call it.
That's right.
And that's what our room is. We're able to open this. This is actually very nice. We have 3 windows here. We're in a suite. It's a suite balcony. It's got an extended balcony, but you can get small balconies, just enough to stand out there.
Yep. And that's really all you need.
Yeah. And they have these new things called infinite balconies, which is a subset of the balcony where the window actually comes down like an automatic window in a car, but it's a large window. And you can stand inside your room and look out on the ocean and breathe the good air.
So let's just say something about balcony rooms. When we open that door, the air conditioning turns off.
Some of the ships it will do that.
Yes, and with the infinite balconies, the same type of thing happens. You bring that window down,
your room heats up.
Your room heats up.
It takes a while to cool it down.
Yeah. So just be aware of that.
You don't want to leave it down all the time. And people had asked about what if bad weather comes in? Well, the captain has an override button, or you can raise all the windows.
Right.
So if you're not in your room and you left it down, they'll knock it up for you. Or the room attendants have, I think, a report of who's down, and they can take care of that too.
All right. So we talked about inside, outside, and balconies.
Yep. And the last one is the suite category. And these are basically, they can be interior or balcony, veranda. They could be 2-story penthouses. You're a wide variety. These are the most expensive ones. They give you the most space.
Right.
This is the lower level suite we have here on Celebrity Beyond. It's called a Sky Suite. It does have a balcony, which is pretty wide. It's a little wider than usual. The bathrooms are bigger. So if you're the kind of person who likes to spend more time in your room as your own little getaway, the suite's the way to go.
Absolutely.
We kind of like that.
I do.
Yeah. The balconies are a little more narrow. They're a lot more narrow than this. This is almost the space of 2 typical balcony rooms. It's very
I
wide.
wouldn't get crazy, but
Some of the balcony
it
rooms,
is definitely wider.
They have a king bed. They'll put 2 twins together, and you can't even walk around it. You have to kind of roll over the bed.
That is a true statement.
Over here it's wide. We're able to walk through it nicely. There's some desk area here, place to get your makeup done.
But if you're not planning to stay in your room a lot, and a lot of people aren't, they're just in here long enough to sleep, get ready, and then they're back out again enjoying themselves.
If you're 20, you're not worried about skin cancer like those knuckleheads up by the pool who sit up there until their skin bubbles, then interior room's going to be all you need because you'll be sitting by that pool at 6 a.m. every morning. So it really depends on what you want to do.
There is also something called connecting cabins.
Yeah.
So if you're traveling with a large family, you can get a room that's side by side that has a door that enters between the 2 rooms. You can open it up between the 2 rooms and be able to get into. So it's like having a really large room or a double suite, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the door opens so the kids could be on one side, the adults could be on the other, or however you want to arrange it. But that is an option as well.
A lot of people don't realize for the same or just a little bit more money, you can end up getting a suite if you have a big family, if you're all willing to stay in the same room. Some of them have multiple bedrooms in there, and you have a lot more space and multiple bathrooms in some of them. So definitely don't discount the suite if you have a large family, because you can split it up among yourselves. So you have 2 families, you can really do really well in a suite. Have one of the nicest rooms on the ship.
All right, I'm going to ask you something twofold. Tell us about obstructed views or guaranteed balconies. Both of those.
All right, so they're kind of one and the same, but they can differ slightly. So there are some rooms, some balcony rooms on cruise ships that have poles or lifeboats or some other kind of obstruction in front of them, so you can't clearly see. You can still see the ocean, but you kind of have to look around something. So those rooms are going to be a little less expensive because they're a little less desirable. Right now, we don't have any real obstruction here, so that's nice. But we've been in rooms that have had lifeboats in front. I didn't have a problem with it. Now, the guaranteed rooms are you're going to let the crews pick, and if they do have open rooms with no obstructions, you'll get that. However, if the sailing's full, as most of them are these days, you could end up with an obstructed view, and they just guarantee you the balcony. They don't guarantee you a view.
Right.
You could end up with an obstructed balcony, but you're going to pay less for that. So that's nice. It's a trade-off, and you can still look around a lifeboat and whatever, and still see the ocean and sit outside and enjoy yourself.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about how the ship operates. So one of the first things you have to do when you get on the ship is the muster.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
After you check in at the port and all that stuff, and again, all that information's in here, your passport requirements, your birth certificate if you don't have one of those, but get a passport. You check in, give them your credit card or your debit card. Some people put cash on the rooms. Then once you get on the ship, you have something called a muster drill. It's not really a drill anymore. It's kind of gone away. You used to have to all gather in this big room and they would go through putting a life jacket on. Now it's largely online and on the apps. You can do that before you even get to the ship. And then you check in and say, yes, I confirm that I watched the video. I know how to put my life jacket on. They scan your card and you're good to go.
Right. So everybody who gets on the ship, depending on where their cabin is, has a muster station. So again, to his point, you have to watch the little video, sign off that you did that, or make a phone call, let them know that you did it, and show up at your muster station so they can scan your card to validate that you're on the ship and that you did follow the procedure.
The premise is that in the event that something does go wrong, I mean, you're on the open sea, things happen. It's very incredibly rare. We'll talk about that in a future video about safety on cruising, that you would meet at that muster station and then you'd be taken to the lifeboat, God forbid. But I don't think that's ever happened in my memory, that they've abandoned ship and put people on lifeboats. Even on the Costa Concordia, they didn't have time to get on lifeboats.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever happened in my memory.
All right, so let's talk about a tender. What does that mean?
That's my heart. So I'm very, very, very thoughtful and feel empathetic.
That's not what I'm talking
about. A tender?
A tender.
Some islands and destinations, as a matter of fact, some of the cruise private islands, we also talk about too, some of those destinations are incredible. They don't have a dock. So you can't pull the ship up to it and just walk off the ship. You have to take what's known as a tender, which is a large, usually 2-story boat with a bunch of seats. And you get on there and you take a short 5-10 minute ride to the island or your destination.
Right.
So you'll see those on some cruise ports, at some cruise ports.
And to get on the tender, you have to go to the gangway. What is that?
Gangway is, you have to walk the plank. Except this plank is connected to something, so you're not dropping into the ocean, which is definitely a benefit walking on the gangway. It's just a connection between you and the boat or land or whatever that is.
Right. And then what does all aboard time mean? All
aboard means your butt better be on that ship. If all aboard time is 4 o'clock, and that they start pulling up the gangway at 4 p.m. And if you're not there, you're not getting on the ship unless you have, and we talk about that in the book too, about the excursions. If you have a cruise sanctioned excursion and it's late, you pass your all aboard time at 4 o'clock or whatever the captain sets it at. Say, hey, we're sailing at 4:05. You're pulling that thing up at 4 o'clock. If you're not on the boat and you have a cruise sanctioned tour and it is late, they will wait for that. But that's the only case they're supposed to wait.
That's right.
If their cruise bus has a flat tire, gets caught in traffic, or something weird happens, there's a medical emergency. But otherwise, that time is set in stone, and the ship's going to leave, and then it's your responsibility to catch the ship at the next port. You have to pay for that yourself.
That's right. As soon as they pull up anchor and untie themselves, they don't stop and retie. So if you're running to catch that ship, you can see it. Yeah, I made it.
No, you did.
And he's pulling away. He's not backing it up and pulling it up there so you can jump back on. It's just not happening. So
unless it's a cruise sanctioned tour, and they would wait. They wouldn't.
They wouldn't have pulled away anyway. But so be aware of that.
So know that there are some rules, and you have to stick to those. Don't have too much to drink at Nassau and forget that your ship's pulling away because they're not going to wait for you.
We've talked about all these cruise ships and all the amenities and all the food and all the wonderful things about it. But I hear people say this all the time as we're walking the halls. Hey, we're on a boat. Well, we're really not on a boat, are we?
It doesn't bother me, but Grandpa Jeff over there, who was in the Marines or Navy, is going to yell at you for calling this ship a boat. A boat is a small vessel, and a ship is, there's some rules, and I'll put up a slide here to give you the differences if you really want to dig into that, if you really want to be that ridiculous about it. There are some differences between ships. Basically, all cruise lines are cruise ships, so you really never sail on a boat. unless it's a sailboat with like 4 people.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can have big sailboats, but these are ships. Just in case somebody calls you out and wants to get pedantic about it. You know, it happens more than you think.
So let's talk about one more thing.
This is going to be a series of videos on this channel, so hit that like, subscribe button so you will be able to learn all about cruising. Maybe share this with people who you're trying to talk into cruising.
So let's give a hint about our next one, and it's going to be about choosing the perfect cruise.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things, just to highlight a couple things that we might have to consider when we're choosing our perfect cruise?
You want to consider your destination. Like, where do you want to go? Where in the world is on your bucket list? Do you want to go to Australia? You want to do the Caribbean? Maybe you live somewhere cold and you just want to warm up. We lived in Florida for 20 some years, so we wanted to see Iceland and Alaska, so we did that. There's some great cruises up there. You can see a lot of Europe. Obviously, the places that are accessible from the ocean, there are river cruises as well, which are getting more popular. Celebrities coming out with river cruising, which will really explode that market, I think, in 2026, 2027. Really, where you want to go. The second thing you need to think of is how long you want to be away. They have cruises, everything from, I think there's 3 days all the way up to, you could do an around the world cruise of 80 to 100 plus days. You could be on a ship. You could live on a ship practically.
Yeah.
So how long do you want to get away? Where do you want to see? You have to think about how big of a ship you want to do. Do you want a little ship like one of the older ones where everything's more cozy and you get to really know the people that you're cruising with? Or do you want one of these giant ships with 7,000 people on it that's just like a floating city?
And I think the biggest thing you got to consider is, what's your budget?
And what's your budget too? Yeah, I mean, there's some really good deals out there, but cruises have been filling up to capacity, so the prices have been rising. Right after the pandemic, it was incredibly cheap again as they were reintroduced. They thought people would be afraid to cruise after that, but it was exactly the opposite. People were hungry to get away, and they just went.
Ships are filled.
Yeah, they just went insane, and they just filled up the ships. As this one sold out, I believe.
I believe so.
It's hard to get on a ship, especially if you're booking last minute. There are no more last minute deals.
Yeah.
There's no more last minute cruises due to security. Them filling up. There's no really good price deals unless you book early, and we'll talk about that in a future video as well.
So one more thing about that. The cruise ships are filling up and the cabins are pretty much sold out. But does it feel crowded out there when we're around in the open areas?
On most of these ships, it does not. You'll never realize there's 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people on a ship.
You really don't.
Because there's so many people, there's so many different things to do. You've got a bunch of people in the casino. We've got the skin cancer people up there on the deck. Those people are red, man. You have people doing the sports stuff. You have people doing bingo. You have people doing trivia. There's endless things to do.
I think the only time, and I'm going to be completely honest, the only time that it feels crowded in any one location is when they're having, like, on the promenade, they're having a big 70s party.
Yeah.
And everybody's gathering in the promenade. Then, yeah, you might feel like it's crowded, but it's just a big party. And then everybody disperses and it's back to normal again.
There is one other time at the beginning and end of shows in the big theater.
Yeah.
Because everybody's trying to rush in at the same time and leave at the same time.
That happens anywhere.
Yeah.
Not just a cruise ship.
Yeah, that's going to happen. But other than that, you'd never realize there's that many people on the ship.
You really don't. You really don't run into the same folks over and over and over
It's
again.
rare.
It's rare.
It really is. It's so big and there's so many different things to do here. It's really a great vacation. Remember, I do have this book available. I have the link in the description. Pick this up. It's an audiobook, paperback, also the Kindle version.
It's very helpful.
Yeah, and we'll continue with this series on this channel. So again, make sure you subscribe and you'll get some free information about cruising. And again, this is the only cruise book you'll ever need. I'm considering writing another one. Should I? About the dark side of cruises. Ooh. Anyway, for Felicia, I'm Admiral Tim. We'll see you out there on the 60 seas. You know there's like 60 seas?
I didn't know that.
They keep revising it.
How about we just say open seas?
On the open seas. Thanks for watching.